Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Hayley.
After meeting online, we became international best friends who bonded over how hard it is to find success in the entertainment industry.
Join us and our celebrity co-authors as they help us write the book on how to make it.
And, more importantly, uncover what making it even means.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriella Lester, and I wanted to be a magician when I grew up.
Of course you did.
Right?
You made it happen.
Right?
I think
you
I
started
saw...
super young.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw that it was like, what, you were 10 years old?
Yeah, I started pretty young.
Yeah. And how did you, like, what was your first day, like, of being like, I'm going to try doing this when you're 10 years old?
Yeah, I saw a magician at my school do a magic show, and afterwards I went up to him to get an autograph, and he took the Sharpie I gave him and put it up his nose and pulled it out his mouth, and it completely broke my brain as a kid.
Classic.
And then after that, I think I remember sitting in the back of my classroom trying to do the same thing with no idea as to how, and then started looking it up and falling into a world of researching it and loving it, and I have been doing that since.
That's amazing. Do you know what's super cool? Like, you've got like... I'm assuming that you've got a family who embraced this in order for you to make this happen.
Yes, very fortunately I did, yeah.
So when you were a kid, did you go and say, like, can someone take me to a store so I can purchase some sort of magic kit?
It was everything. It's, can we order stuff online? Can I go to these magic swap meets? Can I go to magic school in Vegas? Can I, can I have handcuffs for Christmas? I had definitely taken my parents off guard very quickly with all of it, but fortunately they were extremely supportive.
And it worked out for them too, because you did.
Yeah.
Good investment.
And when you're kind of in your spare time and not in your magic career, you're also terrifying your family with your passion for motorsports.
Yes, I basically live to just freak the hell out of my family is essentially what's happening so far.
Were you always just super brave, like as a kid, or did the magic come and then you were like, oh, I can also do this other stuff?
Yeah, I was a really passionate kid, and my father worked an office job, so when I was younger, I'd always go with him to work and just look around and go, I never want this to be my life. So I decided from an early age that whatever I did, I wanted to do to the fullest extent. Like when I started playing basketball, I wanted to be the first woman in the NBA. When I started drawing, I wanted to be a graphic designer. And so I really took everything little and made it as extreme as I could very quickly, and it became everything. So when I found magic, I did the same thing, except the difference was it was just the first thing that really stuck and has still stuck to this day.
So, Gabrielle, so you take your hobbies and you make them your job.
Yeah. Magic just actually happened to be the only one I was good at, really. Oh. Once I realized the height thing was standing in the way of the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Just slightly. Just slightly.
Oh, okay. Let me just stay on your motorsports for a bit, because I read that you've got a merch brand.
Mm-hmm.
What made you kind of go down that route? Was that like that business head again of like I need to kind of go down this, or is it something you're really passionate about? Or
yeah, I was really driven to combine the two of them, the magic and the motorsports, which is kind of what that merch company was originally. And I've always been really interested in trying to go down as many avenues as possible. Being my own business and starting out not knowing how, I always try to find different ways to learn and do that. And the merch was kind of just a part of that, of trying to figure out if I can make an income from all these other things, especially as an artist and starting out. It's so difficult. And there's no such thing really as an artist as a stable income. It just doesn't exist to you. So I learned very quickly from an early age that I would have to find as many different avenues to bring revenue in, even as a kid, just try and learn and do that. And that's what that was. So it was a passion project, but also a way to learn how to run my own business.
Yeah. But we laugh at this, but it's amazing how many people just don't seem to get that that it is a business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. What was your fact off the internet that you found out about Gabriella, Emily?
My fact is that, I'm too late for this, but you were doing a bit of a run at the Magic Castle, and I lived in LA for 10 years. I just moved back a little under a year ago, and I lived by the Magic Castle, and every time I drove by, I was like, how do I get in the Magic Castle? And I never went.
You've never been?
No, because don't you have to know someone to get in, or is
Yeah,
that
now
just...
you do. Now, anytime you
there you go.
now you
I
do.
see
You're
what you
good.
did.
We'll do a girls' night. You're good.
The amount of times I was like asking people, and listen, I work in entertainment, so I should have been asking for favors for like that, but I was like, do you know how to get into the Magic Castle?
No, it's hard for sure, but you're good. Anytime, let me know.
Oh, amazing. I guess I have to go back now.
Yeah.
So what is that like? Because I imagine I've heard you say a couple times you make lists of your goals and then you go after them. What is it like when you get that call or that email or whatever it was that says like you're going to be performing in this historical venue?
I mean, it was incredible for me. I'd known about the Magic Castle for most of my life, and my goal that I wrote down when I was a kid was visit the Magic Castle. Like, that's what I wanted to do today, is get an invite, get in one day, get an invite, get in the door. And very fortunately, the first time I ever went to the castle, I was performing.
Wow.
And I was about 16 or 17, and I wasn't allowed to leave the backstage area. So my first experience of the castle was walking in through the backstage door and out the backstage door. And it was about a year before I saw anything else in the building. But it was one of those incredible experiences for me, I think, because I dreamed to even just walk through those doors, and walking through the stage doors the first time was really, really a wonderful experience. So it means a lot to me now. I still feel very fortunate every time I get to be in that space. And it is really one of the coolest places on earth.
Haley, have you seen a picture of it, Haley?
No,
it's
I've never
like
heard of the Magic
it's
Castle.
so funny because you would see castle. It's like when I tell you I'm going to a pub and you're like, the ceilings are much too high for that to be a British pub. You'd probably see it and be like, that's not a castle. But it's it's kind of like up on a hill, so it looks, and it's just very old, and not very much in LA is old, so it looks very mysterious. There's like a kind of like a driveway that goes up a little bit, so you know it's very I'm sure if we plucked it out of its spot, it might, but it's all very mysterious and magnificent.
Yeah, it's like an old mansion that's basically been converted into this magical clubhouse. So when you see it, you'd know what it is.
And that you can't get into unless you know somebody magical. Yeah. So
it's like a magical
Soho house.
Soho house.
It's essentially, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Makes me feel much cooler.
Oh, no one's got a Soho House membership though. Everyone's a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who's pretending that they have a membership.
Right.
Anyway.
Dear. Anywho, I want to go back to your, sorry, I'm just like flipping around a little bit. Back to your story of at school with the Sharpie up the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have any mentors who you've kind of had from the beginning?
Luckily I've had a lot, and I've kind of grown up in the magic industry, so I've always said I felt like I've had 100 dads, it being a very male dominated industry, and it is really close knit. Everyone knows everyone, and everyone's kind of seen me growing up, and I've been grow up, and I've been there for a long time. And that first magician, actually, his name is Sean Farquhar, who did the Sharpie thing, and he lived in Vancouver, which is where I grew up, so he became one of my first and closest mentors, and is like family to me now. But I've been really lucky to have so many mentors and resources and people to go to, and I've been grateful to see the progression of my idols become my peers and then my friends, which has been really wonderful.
Amazing. Do you see that mentorship as something that's kind of crucial to you kind of developing in the way that you have?
Definitely. I think especially with something like magic, the best way to learn is from somebody else. It's just kind of the only way. And it's one of those arts that has been passed down that way from generation to generation or person to person. And books are wonderful and videos are wonderful, but it just isn't the same as being hands-on and working with someone. And the magic industry is a really great place for something like that. And I get a mentor and work with a lot of young kids now. And it's just the coolest thing in the world for me.
Where do you do that through?
Some in person, like I run some kids seminar where they'll fly out and they'll come attend there, and then I do some on Zoom with kids around the world, and it's the greatest experience possible.
Have you got some really good up and coming ones who you think are gonna see this as a career?
Yes, no, some that are definitely better than me, I think already, but there's so many. Yeah, there's so many passionate kids and so many young women now, which is the big difference. And I think when I was younger, I didn't really have anyone who looked like me or was like me to look up to. So now it's great to work with a bunch of kids that were like little me. Like I feel like I'm watching my little self grow up again and get to be there and have someone that's like me to talk to. And yeah, I'd give my life for all of those little ones.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like Zoom must be an interesting way to teach somebody a magic trick, no?
Very. Yeah.
How does it even work if you can't see like everything that's going on, or you can't like touch the same stuff?
Yeah, for the most part, it's really just talking to them, talking to them about how to build a show or how to get gigs, or I'll give them notes on their routines. But it's less technical stuff, because with magic, you can learn technical stuff everywhere. You can watch a video and learn how to do technical things. You can read a book and learn how to do sleights, but things that make you a real performer, learning how to take who you are as a human being and translate that on stage, knowing how to be in front of an audience, knowing how to build a show, learning how to expand your repertoire, and get bookings and, change from being just somebody who loves what you're doing to be someone who can make money from it and make it a career and a profession, is more what I kind of like to help with, because I was completely lost when I was a kid as to how to do that.
Did your mentors then teach you at that age how to make it a business, or did you just figure it out?
A little bit. I did feel like I was on my own a lot of it, because the industry changed as I grew up. There's a lot more performers out there now, a lot more young women. And then also with the digital age coming in and social media having such a big impact on the entertainment world, and how to grow a fan base online and audience from there, and selling tickets through there and selling merch through there and building a fan base in the digital world. There wasn't really anyone that knew how to do that. Like there's nobody I can ask, how do I succeed in this day and age? Because nobody had existed in this day and age before. So it was kind of learning as I went. But now that we're kind of living in this world now, I have enough resources, I think, to be able to help the little ones figure it out.
I wonder with magic, like this is going to be the dumbest question in the world, probably.
I love dumb questions.
It's just spilling out as I'm thinking. Like there's so much space for things to go wrong. Like how would you even do, like if you're on camera or doing something live and it goes wrong, like is that an experience thing that
definitely. It's not a dumb question at all. It's something that we really do specialize in. Magicians have these things called outs. So when you're making an act, or you're thinking of an act that you want to do, you think as much as you can about everything that could go wrong. The spectator messing something up, the card being wrong at the end, and you think, what do I turn this into if something goes wrong? So you try and think of in advance of all the different ways you can turn it into something else, so the audience doesn't notice if something goes wrong. Some of those things you only discover on the spot, when the one thing in the world you didn't think about going wrong goes wrong, and you have to kind of be on your toes to turn it into something else. But yeah, we have to think about it a lot, because there are so many different factors that go into it. And at the end of the day, it is a technical skill, and you can't always get your technical skill right every time. You can't control the audience or the volunteers, and you have to be, which is what I love about it, is you have to be on your toes and working always and paying attention always. And it's kind of fun too when things go wrong or you get thrown a curveball, because it gets you to turn it into something else. And sometimes what you turn it into ends up being better than what the trick was originally, and then you keep it that way.
Dang.
So with the escape artist stuff, so I imagine that's similar, but like really, really freaking dangerous. Like
we try to eliminate as much danger as possible, and I don't think that any trick is ever worth your life. So with a lot of that stuff, even if it has the appearance of danger, there won't actually be real danger there. Of course,
good
it
to
feels.
Hear, Gabriella. Good to
I'm not gonna kill myself on a Tuesday. I have things to do. But yeah, the appearance of danger is definitely there. Exactly. We think ahead. But yeah, it feels scary, and there's the appearance of fear and danger and all of that. But there really isn't much, and of course, things like that can go wrong, and that's scary. But
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that, thinking about every available kind of thing that could go wrong. Like, Emily, I think magic might be for you.
No,
like thinking of every little,
I could
really
think
good at that.
of everything.
You're really good at that.
I could tell Gabriella everything that could go wrong with her trick, her personal life, like everything. But
I need to know.
What I cannot do is handle the moment that it happens on stage. That would be a me-shaped hole in the wall. Like there would be I could give you a PowerPoint, but I don't want to deal with it when it happens. So I'd be like a crisis management.
Yeah, you could be an advisor. Wow. I'll just talk to you beforehand.
Right, exactly. I would be a great crisis management for everyone but myself. So
that's really funny,
I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, you're gonna tell me that he seems like a great guy on. I don't know what trick is happening on stage.
Yeah, this is great. He seems wonderful.
Yeah, right. I think it's fine. And then, he punches me in the gut and takes my wallet. And then I'm like, wait.
But did you die? Did you die? Are you dead? No.
Not.
This is healthy friendship.
We'll get into that.
We're very opposite people.
I can see this.
We could not be more different. I do remember seeing back in LA before I knew that live tapings of reality TV were grueling and really difficult to be an audience member at. I went to America's Got Talent and there was a trick with an escape. It was like an escape act, but then it was like fake that the person like got crushed by sand, and everyone in the audience was freaking out because they thought that he was now deceased and we had all just witnessed it.
Death.
And, yes. And everyone's like trying to figure out like how they're going to go on. And then of course, one of the emergency people who runs out is him. And I was like, this is the coolest. I think escape art is very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest fields for sure. And it does really make you feel like a superhero with things like that. Being able to do whatever this impossible concept that you have is and bring it to life.
Especially with the dramatic music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You feel like the coolest person on the planet when you have those sound cues going in the light and the whole audience is freaking out. I mean, it's a power strike for sure.
Yeah. I think there's something so like connective with an audience about it as well, and like how vulnerable you kind of make yourself, even if that's part of the act. It's like there's something connective about it in a way that nothing else is, I think. And I think you can change the world with that shit.
Yeah, and I think magicians are excellent storytellers, and for the most part, a lot of us are just ourselves. We're not acting, it's not theater, we're not playing a part, we are just who we are. I always like to say I feel like I take who I am and turn it inside out and then go on stage and just show people exactly who I am. So it's a beautiful way to connect with other people because there is no role, there's no character. And then also, when it comes to having kids in the audience and you're doing this impossible thing, you're also possible to them. Like they're seeing somebody that is just a human who's doing these incredible things, but at the end of the day, isn't a superhero, isn't a TV character, isn't, somebody in a movie. It's somebody who's completely possible and realistic for them.
Awesome.
My favorite trick is always, well, no, this isn't true. I have so many favorite ones. Haley, you probably didn't know I was this big of a magic.
No, I didn't. But
I love.
Go on.
My parents took me to very kind of recently to Chamber Magic. I'm close to New York City, and we went to this Chamber Magic show, and this guy did this thing where it was like, "What's your favorite drink or whatever?" And then he like poured it, even though it's really specific. Anyway, but when I am watching talent shows, the thing that drives me crazy is when the judge, I think they think they're like complimenting the person by being like, this is really, you are just magic. And I'm like, no, this is a honed, like so specific skill. I get that they're trying to like say that they're the best, but I'm like, give credit where credit's due. Like they worked incredibly hard.
No, they love that, especially on shows like that. Like Simon Cowell specifically is known for being someone who wants to believe in real magic and everything is real magic. And if you say it's a skill or you learned it, then he's out. He has no interest, which is such an interesting thing in this day and age. Just don't, he's like, that's a witch. No.
Did you? Yes, exactly. Which is a compliment in and of itself, but not the point. Did you have a favorite trick that you saw and then learned, and then it was like it lost its magic, for lack of a better word, or do you, when you learn things, are they still like as amazing as you thought they were before you figured out how to do them?
Yeah, they're amazing in a different way when you know how it's done, because some of the methods are actually a lot cooler than the effects appear to an audience when you know the behind the scenes of things. And as someone who does it for a living, you love to see these things. Like you love to see incredible methods. You love to see somebody's creative mind that has made this thing possible. So I think we really like it. It doesn't ruin it as much for us because it's just part of the art. I think when you're younger, sometimes it does, but as you grow up in it, then you're like craving to know what the method is, or you're guessing what they are. And magicians love to be fooled. Like we're searching to figure out what we're going to see one day that's going to absolutely just blow our minds. So we like it, I think.
Fool Us is one of my favorite. The Penn and Teller show.
Yeah.
Sorry, Haley, you were going to say something.
No. No, but I love Penn and Teller. Like how did that show come about?
It's a show where they're sitting in the audience and magicians come up and try to fool them. And when they can't figure it out, it's very exciting.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
Oh, I love that. Were you able to fool them?
No.
Oh.
Go on, Emily.
I love how much, Emily, you know about magic. You're just geeking out here. It's very entertaining.
Such a nerd. I feel like I'm behind on the time tick. Go on, Emily.
No, it's just, listen, to quote, who in The Office said this? I blame Harry Potter. No, Angela says that. But no, I just think, Haley, you know me. I love Disney. I love anything where like life is not what's happening.
Yeah, I get that.
Yes.
I get that.
You know?
Yeah.
So did you have to do a routine, Gabriella, for them?
Yeah. So you do an act that's like.
So what was it? What did you do? Sorry,
I did a version.
Explain it to me like I'm a toddler.
Yeah, I did a version of the Straight Jacket escape, but with like a card trick mixed into it. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. Cool. But I did it when I was 18, and it was a trick that I'd never done before, and it was kind of fresh out of COVID, but it was a really wonderful experience.
That's brave.
Yeah. It's terrifying, but yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I can't imagine. I saw them, I almost said in concert.
It's like the same thing.
You saw them in concert.
Give them the credit.
I saw Penn and Teller in concert in New York, and for some reason I was in the front row, and when they do the apple, they do this needle thing where he swallows those needles and then he eats an apple to like prove that he ate, and then he threw the apple and I caught it.
Really?
So,
did you keep it?
Do you still?
I ate
yeah,
it.
like we had the same question.
I ate the apple, which probably shouldn't have done. Oh, and I'm okay. So, well, for the most part. Do you have tricks in your head that you want to come up with that you like sit on? I think of this from a writing perspective of like, I have these characters in my head, or I have this kind of plot in my head, and you toy with it for like years trying to figure out how it goes together. Is that the same with magic, where like you have an idea of a result, and how do you, like, what is that whole process from inception?
Yeah, all the time. Creatively, it's like your brain is working all the time, and there's 100 effects that I think that we all want to bring to life at some point. And you kind of, when you start to look at the world that way, you start coming up with things, start trying to come up with things like that. And it's always the concept first. Like you always go, I would love if I could do this. It would be incredible if, I could walk through a wall and get to the other side, or if somebody could walk on water and then the water froze, something like that. And so it's always the concept first, and then the method comes later. And some of us come up with methods quickly, or sometimes it takes a couple years. But I think we've all got these crazy ideas, or at least me at the very least, of things that I'd love to bring to life one day that are still works in progress.
Do you have one that... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Haley.
No. Go on. Because I was going to ask what you're going to ask.
I knew it was coming.
I don't know that you... No. You go, Haley. I want to hear you say it.
No. Go on.
No, really. Say it in your accent.
Have you got one that you'd like to share with us, Gabrielle?
That's not what I was going to ask.
Oh, what were you going to ask?
No, you go. You do your question first.
No. Go on.
I was just going to ask if you have an example of one that you worked on over years and it came to fruition. Mine's much less boring. It's much more of a boring question than yours was, Haley.
No, go on.
Well, that was it. They're both good. The first thing I ever really brought to life was the Straight Jacket escape, which had been done before, but the first time I did that I was 14, and that was like a crazy dream. That came from sketches in my journal of these terrible stick figure drawings. Again, I couldn't be an artist, of wanting to do this thing and imagining what it would look like. And that was something that didn't really have a method or an idea or what I wanted to look like. It came from nothing. Like that came from me walking home from school one day and hanging upside down on the monkey bars, to then getting into a circus gym, to then getting rigging equipment, to then bringing it to life. So a lot of it is like that. You have this idea and you live in this weird, confusing, sometimes ugly, messy, creative process where you don't really know how you're going to do these things, but you just slowly kind of work towards them until pieces fall into place.
That is interesting. just moving around, sorry, my brain's going in many different directions. Like, being a woman in magic,
Mm-hmm.
like, have you seen a change while you've been in the industry towards it being a more open industry?
Yeah, we definitely have far more representation, especially like as you mentioned with shows like Fool Us, where we are seeing people that are like us on TV. Like there really wasn't a lot of women broadcasted anywhere in the magic world other than as the assistants or the dancers or on stage in that regard.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot more of it rise. And it's not even and it's far from being even, but there's enough that you can look around as a young kid and think that this is something that you can do now that we have enough of it out there.
That's cool.
They
Have
always
you
sell
ever-
it too.
No,
They're
go on.
always like, and she's a woman. Like it's still like
Yeah.
a defining
Yeah.
factor, which I'm always like, that's not a descriptor for this.
I know.
I hate that. That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, have you ever had like a moment or like a story in your career where you've kind of thought, God, like, why do I bother? Like, have you ever got to that point? Has something ever happened to you where that's been like, oh, I can't be bothered?
Yeah, sometimes you go through these hard moments of failure for sure, especially because, for me and most performers, like I said, you are yourself. You're going out there as who you are. So when an audience doesn't respond or something doesn't go well, or you don't feel like in your mind, and of course, you're always your harshest critic, that when you feel like you don't do well, you take it on a different kind of personal level because it's not like you're putting a character out there or you're writing a book and they didn't like this story they read. The story they're reading is yours. You are yourself. So you can take those hits personally. And over the years, you get better at managing it. And I definitely have. But I know in those first couple of years, it was really hard when you're trying to figure out if this is what you're going to do with your life, what that's going to look like, if you can make something of yourself, and especially when you feel like you're an underdog or you are this young girl who's wanting to do this thing and make this big impact. And you have dreams that are 10 times the size of you, that those hits and those failures definitely hurt on a deep level.
Yeah, for sure. Have you got like a specific moment like that's kind of changed the path of your career? So we've had like comedians who have like traveled all over the place to earn no money, to be in debt basically, to what else have we had, Emily?
I mean everything. Actors whose pants have ripped while they're filming a scene, or just a lot of very degrading auditions. Just moments of like, why we had an actor who had to do a crazy scene that ended up like giving him hypothermia. It doesn't have to be anything that extreme, but just like something where you're like I gave the example one time. I was editing this episode over the weekend, which is a much more muted version of like, I had a producer on a show I was working on and he didn't like kale, and so we had to edit kale out of every menu before we sent it to him. And you're just sitting there on your computer like, I want to be an actor and I'm editing kale out of a menu, and how does this, so any moments like that.
Definitely, especially in the first few years when I hadn't made anything of it and I was just kind of a weird kid who was doing this thing. I faced a lot of that when I started doing the escapes, or even throughout school. I was just kind of like this weird magic kid who was doing this thing and it didn't really make sense. And for example, something like the straitjacket, appearance wise, it looked like this remarkable, cool, impressive thing. I was upside down at 40 feet in the air. There were strobe lights and music and drama, and it was this, image wise, this great thing. But I still remember doing that and hearing, kids in the audience laughing because they didn't get it. It didn't make sense. And you have moments like that a lot where what you're doing should be, like you mentioned, it should be cooler, it should be impressive, but people don't always understand it. And I think that beginning phase is the scariest thing, because until you've made something of yourself, whatever making something looks like, people don't necessarily take you seriously, and you have to find a way to put those blinders on and keep doing what you're doing. And that, as a kid, when you're figuring out who you are and you also want to be liked and you also want to chase your passion, it's a hard thing to balance at the same time, because you're just giving up a lot of the normal, cool stereotypes of being a kid and growing up that you would have had otherwise. So I, sacrificed being a cool kid for doing something I loved, and in the end it paid off. But for a while, it didn't.
Yeah, like it's such a vulnerable place to put yourself, like with other kids like laughing at you and stuff. Like, do you
Yeah.
do anything to kind of protect yourself? Because like you're putting yourself out there every day like that, and putting, like, you're not putting on an act. This is who you are. Like, do you kind of do anything to kind of like protect your being away from being the performer?
Yeah, you just, like I said, you have to have those blinders on and know that what you're doing is for a greater purpose, and what you're working towards is going to matter a lot more than what you're just doing today. And one of my friends said something before I went on stage once that was really incredible. I was really nervous for performance. I think we were filming it for a TV show. And he had said to me, you know, no matter what happens today, you are going to go home and you're still going to be you. And that's something that I repeat in my head all the time when I'm worried about failure or not doing well, the audience not loving something, is that what I am chasing is so much bigger than whatever happens today. I want today to go well. I want to care. I want to give it my best. But if it doesn't go well, then I'm still going to go home and keep chasing this thing. And nothing that happens to me, no bad show, no failure, and nothing going wrong is ever going to stand in the way from me still going home and waking up the next day and working towards this bigger goal in this dream. Like, I'll always do that.
That's incredibly inspirational.
Thank you.
That is a good thing to have in your head.
Thank you.
Mine usually is like, no matter what happens, I'll go home and eat, like, order a hamburger. But I like yours.
Yeah, I do that too. No, yeah. Carbs are a healthy mix.
I'm always like, I make it into a tangible thing rather than probably should just, you know, do it up here in the self-confidence area. But
yeah, no, there's still a lot of hamburgers involved. Don't worry. That's
good. That's good to know.
I loved the quote from your TED Talk where you said that we are the things that we love. I'm probably paraphrasing that. That's such a lovely thing, because I think a lot of times I'm like, a lot of the stuff I like is very dorky and, you know, niche. And like when Haley and I met for the first time, I was like, we're going to a Hans Zimmer concert at the O2 Arena, and thankfully she came. But, you know, just like things where I'm like, a lot of people would be like, who and what and where, and we're gonna sit and watch orchestra music for 3 hours. And so to think of it in like, oh, I am the things I love, I'm like, oh, I love those things. Like I like the fact that I would radiate that. So I wrote that in my notebook when I heard you say it, because I was like, oh, that's a really lovely way to look at yourself.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Full of wisdom.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's good. That's why you're a good mentor.
Yes.
I hope so.
I may have to start taking Zoom magic classes. The trick that is my favorite is when there's like someone takes a dollar bill and signs it, and then the dollar bill ends up in a like they crack open an egg in the dollar. That's my favorite. You can show that to me a million times and I'm still like, how did that get in that lemon that's not been cut before? And where the hell was I going with this? Oh, when I see that, I'm like that to me when I was a kid, I was like, that. I remember seeing it on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and I was like, that person is actually magical. And then I saw a bunch of other people do it, and I was like, oh, maybe not.
That's great. I think you should be a performer. You could do a show, because it'd be like 2 hours and you'd go from tangent to tangent.
And nothing would happen.
It's like, oh yes, and a lemon.
It would be a one-woman mental breakdown on stage.
I would see that.
I'm there.
Yeah.
That's what this whole podcast has been over the last year.
As long as you're protecting yourself, Emily. Get those blinkers on. Get your blinkers on.
Lost control of the interview. Well, I'll ask. You said making it a bit ago, so I'm gonna grab that and move it back.
That was a nice little segue, that, Emily. Well done.
I'm just gonna pull it from a few minutes ago. What would your definition be of making it? And this could be in career or in life, or a mold of both things.
Yeah, I think it's a mix. I think I want to do as much as possible, especially as, you know, in this industry, there's never been a woman at the top, really. We haven't had a female Copperfield or Houdini, and that person could and should exist now. And with the right steps and effort, it's possible to become that person. But I also just want to like the way that I get there too. You know, like I still want to love my passion at the end of the day, and I still want to like who I am and how I took the steps to get there. So I want to get as close as I can to that, but while liking the journey. And if that means I go, you know, a shorter amount further, then I would rather do that.
That's great.
Yeah, it's about the journey, isn't it? If you got like worldwide like notoriety tomorrow, like what is there to enjoy in that?
Yeah, it just doesn't mean as much. I like the hustle. For me, that's my favorite. It's like the working and the thinking and the learning and the, failing and the getting things wrong and the trying again and all of that I love the most.
Yes, I love that. I love that. If you were gonna kind of sum up your career journey so far in like a chapter title, so I know you don't like me keeping saying this, Emily, but if this podcast was a book, and Gabriella, your episode, it was a chapter, like what would the title of that chapter be? What is the title of your career so far?
That was said very well. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It was a great question. Emily. Great question.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Gabriella.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Thanks, babes.
I would probably say like dreaming, I think for me is the biggest thing. Like I'm still such a big dreamer, and no matter how much I accomplish or like work towards, like, it might be a cliche answer, but it's really dreaming for me. I still spend so much time doing that and thinking of the future, not just as like, I want this goal or I want this thing or I want this award. It's like, I want this dream. I want this thing that's going to make me excited or happy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, dreaming.
Cool. I just think that's a theme of everything that you do, isn't it? Because like even like the like working on the concepts, it's all a brain thing. It's not like you can kind of practically do it all straight away. It's like it's laying the groundwork, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's interesting how it kind of feeds into every aspect of your kind of work and your future as well. Fascinating. Go on, Emily. I'm just talking.
Thanks.
The dynamic between you two is amazing, by the way. I'm really enjoying it. It's so fun.
Emily is very type A and I'm very type B.
I feel like
we are on the extreme ends.
We're on like a news channel and you send it down and then I take like that delayed pause and I'm like, thanks, Haley. What was I going to oh, I know what I was going to say because it's a question that could possibly help me that I think you might have the answer to or some help.
I'm scared already.
We all work in this might help you, Haley. Actually, no, you probably already know that. You probably already found this figured out.
Beyond it.
I don't. How do you, because we all work in fields where technically, not even technically, there's no clock out hour. Like, right. You could always be writing more, thinking of new tricks, doing something to like I'm always like, oh my God, is someone working an hour later than me on this thing or sending one more email? How do you manage? How do you manage to be like, these are my even brain business hours, and now I'm gonna like, how do you, what do you then go do to take yourself out of that space?
Yeah, I think you have to know what your limit is and you can feel it. Like, you know yourself the best. So you can feel when you're doing something too much or working too hard, and you have to be able to like put stuff down. And it also makes you better at whatever you're working at towards when you're able to step down and take a step back and then come back to it. And for me, I love being a beginner. Like I still have a million hobbies and I spend a lot of my time doing that. So I try and focus on other things that I care about or like, learning to play an instrument or learning to skateboard or riding the motorcycles or whatever it is and things like that I fill a lot of my time with, that it gives me other things to fixate on, because otherwise I will work myself into a hole. And when it's your passion too, you also love it. So it's work, but it's why not? It's why not work harder? Why not write another chapter? Why not stay up a little later and all these things? But, I think when you start to notice as time progresses how much better your work is when you're able to put it down and come back to it than when you just try to work nonstop, is probably the healthiest tool that I've learned. And it's hard sometimes. I don't always get it, right. And we all like to just work and work and work, but I try and put it down as much as I can too.
And what do you choose to do when you put it down?
Right. I'm learning to play the piano right now. And yesterday I finger painted a caterpillar. So
that's great.
So a lot of like random other things.
Yeah, I love that. Oh,
It's just other hobbies. Yeah.
That's it. It's important.
Yeah.
Well, off the back of that, like, what is your creative process like? Like, do you have any weird rituals or anything that you do, or superstitions, or things that you do to make the magic happen when you're in the work zone?
Yeah, like I try and imagine some kind of end goal that really excites me to work towards, because it's always like messy and you have all these ups and downs and failures, and it always takes longer than you expect. But for me, like I imagine some weird end goal. Like right now I'm writing a book that's going to come out at the end of the year. And I know now it's going to be, it's a great process, but also it's going to be long and tiring and editing and a lot of like, how do I write a life story when I'm 21? Who's going to read this? All of that self-doubt I know is going to come. But for me, I'm imagining like the book launch party. Like I fixate on that. I pick some dream at the end of the tunnel, and I just think about that. So now every day when I want to write, or I'm thinking about it before I go to sleep, like I just imagine more details about that, who I'm going to invite, what it's going to look like, where it's going to be, what kind of room I want to have it in. So I have something exciting to look towards. So a lot of my creative process is that, like really imagining a specific thing when I'm working on a new act that I want to do on a TV show or a venue. Like I imagine people in the audience, what their reactions are going to be, or what it's going to be like to see people lining up for my show one day in whatever city I want to get to, and things like that is what keeps me inspired to continue to create when creating gets exhausting.
What is your like big pinch me moment?
I've had a lot, I feel like, because a lot of the things I've worked towards I've wanted for so long. Like it's crazy to be 21 and say that I've wanted this thing for 10 years. Like that to me is wild. So a lot of things, like I think I'm writing a chapter in my book now called Tears of Joy, which are just like all the moments in my life I feel like because of my career I've cried tears of joy. One being like the first time the New York Times called and things like that, which are just goals that I dreamed of since I was a kid. Fool Us with being the last thing on my bucket list. So a lot of those moments where and also because I've done the work is the coolest thing, like which I like. Like I've put in the time, and it hasn't just been like I want something and it's happened. It's like it's been a lot of just the sleepless nights and getting through a lot of trauma in my life to keep going for my passion, chase after things like that. But I've had a lot of, to branch off of your Severance no celebrity story, is after Fool Us came out, I was random story, but I was in the UK on a train. I was doing shows and that summer there with a bunch of other magicians, and this like magic mega fan came up to us at our table and was freaking out because she loved Fool Us, and she's like, oh, you're so-and-so from the show, and you're so-and-so from the show. And I was there too, but I was like, it was a travel day, so I was in sweats and whatever. My episode had just aired. So she's freaking out about everyone there, and then one of the guys, he goes, oh, but that's Gabriella. She just aired, the season. She was the girl that did that Straight Jacket, because the clip did fairly well when it came out. And she's like, oh, really? And they're like, they pulled the clip up again to show her the video. And she takes the phone and she looks at this 4K TV footage of me she looks at that. She looks at me. She looks at that. She goes, nice joke, but no. And hands the phone back and walks away. And I was like, God damn.
Wow.
It's like, okay.
Wow.
And now I feel like me in sweats is like a total different animal to me on stage. I'm like, okay, now I don't even have to ever try go incognito. I am just constantly in that state.
Oh my god.
I can't imagine, even if I thought that, I can't imagine.
So rude.
Yeah.
Vocalizing. That's wow.
At least I never have to worry about an ego. Like the world's doing a great job at just like grounding me. He's like, you're on a TV show. Well, let me just show you that you're not.
A woman.
Like, yeah. You did great for a girl.
Do you remember where in the UK you were, Gabriella? Because I feel like that makes a difference.
Oh yeah. I think I was leaving Eastbourne on my way to Edinburgh, so somewhere along that.
Oh, that's the entire country.
Yeah, it was a long travel day. So you can understand now. I didn't look good. I've been traveling all day. Okay, I just been performing in Eastbourne for a bunch of senior citizens. I wasn't feeling myself. I was in my sweat. Like, just it was a long day.
And were most of the other people in the car men?
They were all boys, so they look the same. So guys wake up the other day and look the freaking same.
They don't
exactly. So they look fine, and then there's me being like felt like a different creature. She looked at me like, no, that girl's an octopus. What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
I know, men have it so
back you
easy.
Did they backed you up, right? They showed the
Yeah, well, they showed her, they were trying to back me up because she's like, no, I don't feel like I've seen you. She's like, I watch, and she was this mega fan. She's like, I watch every episode, I would know. Like, I love the show. And they're like, no, really? So they were backing me up by bringing up the YouTube video. You know, me sitting there all shy, like ready for her to like freak out at me too, like while she's watching the video, and then she says that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just like sit here and cry for a little bit. But it was really funny. I found it really funny.
Then they
And it also just come out. Yeah, like it just came out, so I was so excited for the world to see it. Like it just aired that week or something crazy like that, so I was ready. But I probably needed that, you know. A healthy dose of anti-ego.
I bet she feels like a right moron now.
Yeah, maybe. I think I followed her after that too, because she had posted a bunch of videos. I think I did. Like, I think I followed her and she sent a message or something like that.
Yes, Gabriella.
Be like, well, we've got her here. Come on out.
Yeah. I was like, really? I know. This was some spiteful thing that I did probably. I gotta find her again.
That's a nice bit of passive aggression.
I should have, like...
Wait, how long ago was this?
This was a couple years ago. Like, I was 18,
okay.
so I hadn't,
done anything. Her again.
I should. I'll reach out again.
And then...
Yeah.
Be like, hey...
Let's have her on the show.
I want to hear about how you didn't make it.
Exactly. No, I feel like I regretted it after, because I think she sent a message that was like, hey, I was the girl that you met on the train. And I was just nice, but I think my response should have been like, really? I don't think so. Like, you look really different to her.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Well, we've learned train magician etiquette, which I didn't think we would be covering. But now we know how to act. Mm-hmm. Should we come across a train of magicians? Oh my god, it's the Harry Potter of it all. Oh, you're not you're not interested, Ailey? Okay. I've been looking around to see if my Harry Potter wand is somewhere within reach, but I don't think
I love how much you love magic in general. You're like, I'm looking for my Harry Potter one.
I'm actually looking. I feel like I should have a Harry Potter one.
I have the Marauders map somewhere in here.
This is adorable. I've never seen Harry Potter.
I was going to say, I bet you're not even a Harry Potter person.
Your face, Em, was amazing. Like, I'd singe. Like, how dare you be a magician and not watch, like, the only magic movies?
I think that's okay, Gabriella.
I would understand.
I've been in a Harry Potter musical, but I've never seen the movies.
What's that? What Harry Potter musical?
You were in it, or you've seen it?
I was in a Harry Potter musical, acting and
what was it called?
Singing. I like Harry Potter the musical or something like that.
Okay, I went to see a Harry Potter musical that was like an off-Broadway
A Harry Potter musical?
Oh yeah, it was that, but like a high school
Harry
version.
Potter musical. Oh my god.
Yes, the tables have turned.
You're both nerds.
The tables have turned.
I'm going to watch Star Kids in a couple of weeks. The guys who made a Harry Potter musical.
Wait, you're going to see Charlene Kay?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, she's in Star Kid. I just did her video editing for something.
Yes, apparently I am, yes.
I love this.
Wait, so...
I love this.
So you did a version of a Harry Potter musical?
Yes, in high school.
Amazing. Who were you?
I was one of the students.
Oh, that's I was like,
that's Haley's least favorite.
I was hoping you were gonna like sing us a song or something, Gabriella.
No. I'm a terrible singer. That's why I would have been in musical theater if I had any musical talent, but I don't. Although opening night, I had to do a full show because we were on stage and like our opening number and the lights failed or something had happened, and I'm on stage like frozen in character and whatever weird dance position I couldn't really do. And the teacher goes on the PA and she says, sorry, we have some technical issues, but if you stay where you are, we're going to fix the problems. In the meantime, one of our students is actually a magician and she'll do a show for you. I'm on stage, no notice, and I like just like in character trying to like shuffle off stage and
Under
go
the
through my
bus.
backpack and try. I was like, okay, now
Right
we're
under
doing
the
a
bus.
show.
It's probably better than the actual show.
Well, at least I had lines.
There you go.
I was just happy to say something.
I will say, so Gabriella, when I come to LA, we go to the Magic Castle. When you come to New York, we have to go see the Harry Potter Broadway show because even it's a standalone, the practical effects are magical. Like
Yeah.
the practical effects that they do. I had a bruise on my arm, and this is not an exaggeration because my brother kept elbowing me every time something cool would happen. And so I was just got beaten to a pulp by him. It is, and they've shortened it, so it's not 6 hours anymore. It's just like 3. So I'll drag you to that.
I love that.
Look how thrilled
I'm
she
in.
is.
Oh,
She's absolutely thrilled.
This is all she
That
hopes to get out of this interview was a
I
string
want
woman
to
from
watch
New
6
Jersey.
hours of Harry
no,
Potter.
I'm in. At the same time, there was like an ant crawling on the desk. I'm like, where's this ant come from? So I am very engaged. Don't take that as uninterest. I also just have ADD, and it was like, am
a
I
bad
gonna kill
omen.
him or keep him? Was the
I think
thought.
you keep him as your friend.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
he's
Anyways,
never-
so yes to that, and now I have a
There you
new
go.
house pet.
Okay.
Amazing. It's all happening right
Yeah.
here. Right here. Right, what
Yeah.
else do we need to ask, Emily? Where are we at?
It's
What are we
like,
doing?
thank you,
Where
Emily.
are we?
And now.
It's midnight here. Like, what
I
are we
know.
doing? I've
Is
had a
it
beer.
really?
Yeah.
And Haley's been up since what, 3 o'clock this morning? for
I've
you?
been up since 3 a.m. and I'm
Oh, great.
wired.
I'm ready
been-
for the questions are just gonna get better now.
You've been awake for almost 24 hours.
This is normal. So normal.
Are you
And
okay?
Gabriella, we had
Yeah, I'm
another
fine.
interview
Yeah.
before yours. We had to do an outfit change. Like this has
Oh,
been
wow.
a theatrical day for Haley,
It's been awesome.
who also has 3
Amazing.
children.
Wow.
Anyway, so all my questions like involve magic, which this is an audio medium. Well, we put these online, but still, like here's a question I had. Okay.
Like the excited hands. I have something to say.
The last question that I have, because
Yeah.
Go on.
I fear for everybody's mental health at this point of the interview, is
It's gone to a funny place.
do you always have like, God, I almost said a trick up your sleeve. Do you always, when you're out like at a thing, do you always have like a trick that you can?
Oh my god.
What? And I don't mean
Sorry.
I don't mean like the thing coming out of your, but like
I'm
is there
sorry.
something you can do? Like we're getting, lunch at an inauthentic British pub before we see Harry Potter on Broadway.
Yeah.
Do you have
then
like
is there a rabbit that's gonna come
Is
out from
there
under the table?
always a-
Yes. Yes,
what
there
trick,
is.
What trick is it?
You have stuffed animal. Just like that. Yes, yeah.
I just found
Yeah.
it on top of the printer.
Yes. No, I snap and doves fly across the restaurant. Come
Let's
on.
go.
Oh,
I want to see it right
wow.
now.
I'm just thinking you're at a oh sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like some things, like I'll always have a deck of cards or something like that on me, but I don't often do just kind of tricks while I'm out and about. But until
you're
it's something
with
cool,
me.
until I'm with you, then I have no idea what's gonna happen. But I'm along for the ride.
I'm scared for you, Gabriella.
You know those Disney shirts that are like, I'm with Mickey, I'm with Minnie. Mine's gonna be like, she's a magician.
We're gonna go out and you're gonna put like a sash on me that's like, ask me for a card trick. Like, okay.
And then mine will
Sure.
say, ask me if I'm famous. Or I'll just have,
Yeah.
I'll do that Shia LaBeouf thing where he put a paper bag over his head that said, I am not famous. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, I love that. That's great.
what I'll do.
I can't wait to bring you to the Magic Castle because I've genuinely never seen someone as excited as you about magic in general, and you're on a computer, so this is wonderful.
Can I wear a gown?
You're meant to. You're gonna wear a
Okay.
tiara too if you want. Do it up. girl.
I went to this premiere. My friend directed one of the Halloween reboot movies, and I went to the premiere with him, and I wore this like gothic poofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't understand. One of my friends is a YouTuber. She does paranormal activity, like goes to places
fine.
and like talks to the dead. And I am gonna do one with her, and I'm gonna wear like a black veiled I love an
Right.
outfit.
No, that's the place to do it. It's the place to do it.
Babe,
So
you do you. I think it's wicked. Go on.
Yeah.
oh, that was it.
I personally won't be in a poofy gown, but you are more than welcome to.
You'll be like, I'm not with her.
Yeah.
I love a theme. I
Yeah.
love, you know, life is really difficult. You gotta have a theme and a
Right?
sparkly dress. It's the only way.
Yeah, I mean,
And a
there's many
hamburger.
ways-
It's like
there's
life is
many
really
ways
sad when he
through.
dresses in hamburgers.
Yeah, there's many
Yeah.
ways through, and those are the ways that work for you.
Mhm.
For me, I like how you.
I think it's amazing.
Haley, what's
I
your
like a
poofy dress
I
and
like a-
hamburger?
I like a dress.
Okay.
I like a dress. I do. And
Okay.
and a beer.
That's where
Yeah.
A dress and a
we
beer.
part ways.
And a half marathon.
Okay, we can agree.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't do that.
I am not
I
on
couldn't
this
run like
wavelength
10
with you
feet
guys.
before being out of breath.
But you will strap yourself upside down 40
Yeah.
feet in the air. So I think,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
potato, tomato,
It's a balance. Exactly.
It
Did you
is.
say potato, tomato?
oranges and
Potato,
apples.
tomato.
Yeah.
Is that
Something like that.
sure?
Yeah.
Different
Love
things,
that.
different
Yeah.
Love
strokes.
Almost makes sense. I'm here for it.
Well, this has been educational.
It's been
Has it?
I've learned a lot.
Great.
have.
Okay, good.
I
Okay.
think you're really inspirational.
I do
Thank
too.
you.
On a
I think
very
you're cool as
serious
fuck.
note. On a very serious note, very inspirational. We do this thing where we all pretend we're saying goodbye here while it's recording, and then I push
Mhm.
stop, and then we actually say goodbye while we make sure that everything uploads. So we can all pretend to say
Okay.
thank you so much for coming on.
Okay.
This has been so
Thank you
nice.
for this madness.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. Thank you.
Good. I'm
What a
glad you
mess.
enjoyed it because
Yeah.
I did.
No, I'm so entertained.
Haley, you need to go to bed.
I do. But that was really fun. That was like a really fun way to spend the last hour of this insane day.